The global energy system moves more than $6 trillion every year. That is larger than the GDP of most nations, larger than empires that once ruled the world. And right now, that system is being quietly triggered. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. This is not a warning about what might happen. This is about what will happen. Because when energy moves, everything moves. Markets, currencies, governments, power. And when energy freezes, economies go dead. Most people believe energy shocks arrive with explosions, wars, blockades, headlines screaming panic. That belief is wrong. The biggest collapses in history did not begin loudly. They began with silence, with paperwork, with sanctions, with contracts quietly dumped, rerouted, or seized. Right now, a historic power shift is unfolding between the United States and Venezuela. That IT looks small, that IT looks isolated, that IT looks manageable. That is why it is dangerous. Because this is not about Venezuela, and it is not about the United States. It is about control. Control of barrels, control of flows, control of who sells, who buys, and who gets cut off when systems tighten. Mainstream media treats this as background noise, that a regional dispute, that a political standoff. But history shows something else. This exact pattern has appeared before, again and again and again. Each time, it ended the same way. First, restrictions, then pressure. Then markets froze, then confidence vanished, then money moved. Then wealth transferred upward and outward. Then the system hit the point of no return. And by the time people realized what was happening, they were already late. Too late to hedge, too late to sell, too late to reposition. They watched markets crash while being told everything was under control. They watched currencies weaken while officials said stability was returning. They watched supply chains break while economists promised soft landings. History does not reward hope, that IT rewards pattern recognition. And the pattern is already in motion. What makes this moment different is not scale, it is timing. The world is already fragile. Debt levels are historic. Trust in institutions is thin. Energy inventories are tight. Supply chains are stretched. There is no buffer left. This is not the beginning of the cycle. This is the late stage. The stage where small shocks create global panic, where one disruption triggers another, where markets overreact, then freeze, then break. And yet, most people still believe protection exists. They believe systems will adjust. They believe governments will intervene. They believe markets will self-correct. Those beliefs have collapsed before, and they are collapsing again. By the end of this report, a hidden sequence will be revealed, that a multi-stage pattern that explains why U.S. Venezuela tensions are not political theater, why energy markets are approaching a final reset, why wealth is already transferring, and why most people will not see it until control is lost. This is not for everyone. Some will understand the pattern. Others will become victims of it. The difference is awareness. The energy power sequence, a pattern older than empires. History does not repeat. It rhymes. But the sequence remains fixed. Every major geopolitical collapse linked to energy follows the same mechanical process. Not ideology, not morality, not conspiracy. A process. It is slow at first, then sudden, then final. The current U.S. Venezuela tension fits perfectly inside this structure. Not as an exception, as confirmation. To understand what is happening now, the pattern must be broken into 5 stages. Not opinions. Stages. Control without occupation. Every energy conflict begins with control, not invasion. Access is limited. Licenses are restricted. Payments are delayed. Insurance becomes expensive. Shipping routes quietly change. Nothing explodes. Nothing collapses. That is why people miss it. Venezuela holds over 300 billion barrels of proven oil reserves, the biggest on the planet. Yet for years, much of that oil remained underground. Not because it was unavailable, because it was blocked. Sanctions do not destroy supply. They redirect it. Oil is sold, but not openly. It is moved, but not transparently. It is blended, relabeled, rerouted. This creates 2 markets. The visible market, the shadow market. Prices no longer reflect reality. Media sees stability. Markets see opportunity. Institutions see control. History sees the trigger. This stage is ignored because nothing looks broken. But access has already been lost. Distortion and wealth transfer. Once access is constrained, distortion begins. Not immediately, gradually. Certain buyers get discounts. Others pay premiums. Some are cut out completely. This is where wealth transfer quietly accelerates. Traders with political access profit. Refiners with flexible logistics survive. Smaller economies bleed. This is not corruption. It is structure. When energy flows unevenly, capital follows. The market does not crash here. It bends. Economists call this rebalancing. Politicians call it temporary pressure. History calls it preparation. During the British Empire's decline, coal access distorted global trade. During the Soviet collapse, oil revenue volatility broke state finances. During the 1970s oil shocks, entire currencies were rewritten. Different eras, same sequence. Most people still feel safe here. They should not. Confidence erosion. This is the most dangerous stage. Nothing collapses yet, but confidence dies. Shipping insurers raise premiums. Banks hesitate. Energy contracts shorten. Markets become nervous. Prices spike without reason, then fall without logic. This is where panic begins, not emotionally, but mathematically. Confidence is the invisible asset that holds markets together. Once it weakens, everything else follows. Currencies tied to energy imports weaken first. Then industrial output slows. Then debt servicing becomes harder. This is when headlines start using words like uncertainty, volatility, unexpected shock. But the shock is not unexpected. It is late. Historically, this stage is where governments insist the system is stable. They are always wrong. System freeze. At this point, intervention begins. Strategic reserves are released. Regulations change overnight. Emergency talks are announced. Markets do not calm. They freeze. Trading volumes drop. Liquidity dries up. Bid-ask spreads widen. This is where market shock becomes structural. Energy is still available, but nobody trusts pricing. This stage is fatal to leverage systems. Debt-heavy economies crack. Companies dependent on cheap energy dump assets. Supply chain stall. The illusion of control collapses. This is the point of no return. Reset or death. Every system chooses. Reset or go dead. Currencies are devalued. Trade routes are rewritten. Political power shifts permanently. This is where empires fall. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. The Roman grain system failed. The British energy edge faded. The Soviet oil revenue collapsed. Each time, the system insisted it would adapt. Each time it didn't. The current global energy system is reaching this phase. U.S. Venezuela tension is not the cause. It is the exposed fault line. Why this time feels different, but isn't people say, this time is different? They always do. Debt is higher now. Trust is lower now. Energy buffers are thinner now. That makes the system weaker, not safer. The world is already late in the cycle. Capital has already moved. Assets have already been repositioned. Supply chains have already shifted. The public just hasn't noticed yet. That is how every historic collapse begins. The final stage never announces itself. It arrives quietly, calmly, with official reassurances. This is where the system feels stable right before it isn't. History shows this moment clearly. It is the phase where most people stop paying attention. They are tired. They are distracted. They believe the danger has passed. It hasn't. This is the phase that always destroys the most wealth. Because decisions made here feel rational, but are already late. The comforting lies return. Markets will recover. Energy always adapts. Institutions won't allow collapse. Global systems are stronger now. History has already answered these beliefs. They were spoken in Rome. They were spoken in London. They were spoken in Moscow. They were wrong every time. What collapses first is not governments. It is confidence. Then markets crash. Then currencies weaken. Then trade freezes. Energy disruptions are never isolated. They spread. Fuel shortages become food inflation. Shipping delays become factory shutdowns. Currency weakness becomes social pressure. This is how systems go dead without a single explosion. The danger window is not a date. It is a period. A period when volatility becomes global panic. When markets move faster than policy. When reactions replace strategy. Prepared people act before this phase. Unprepared people act inside it. Inside it, options disappear. Assets are frozen. Capital controls appear. Trade is blocked. Those who waited discover they are broke not because they were poor, but because they trusted stability. This is not fear. It is arithmetic. Energy determines production. Production determines currency strength. Currency strength determines survival. The world is approaching a final reset stage. Not tomorrow, not overnight, but inevitably. This is not a prediction. It is pattern recognition. History does not ask permission before it repeats the sequence. The question is no longer if the system changes. History has already answered that. The only remaining question is who understood the warning and who didn't. End of report.